Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to another episode of the Paranormal Industrial Complex. I'm your host, Dallas DeLuxe, and tonight we are going to do something special. Number one, we're doing different things tonight, baby. We're going for a night ride. Woo! Going for some night riding, little night action tonight, and see what's going on. We'll see how the other half lives. And by the way, happy winter solstice to you all. Tonight's December 21st, 2019. I love the winter solstice because it's a harbinger of longer days ahead. Longer days means more sunshine. That means more riding time. Oh yeah, baby. So let's check it out. Tonight, we are going to talk about something very interesting. We are going to talk about what I like to refer to as the Big Three. Now, what is the Big Three? Let's take a look. When you study the Paranormal Industrial Complex, you don't really just study the paranormal, do you? Right? It's not just like it's one thing. No. Paranormal activity is a multitude, a multiverse of subset of interest, okay? Aliens, ghosts, UFOs, past lives, telekinesis, blah, 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 okay? It's many, many things. But here's the thing. Given so many things, there's only so much interest to go around, so most people kind of bifurcate themselves into one area. So let's run them down, shall we? Number one, my own personal favorite, UFOs. There we go, people. Oh, there's an alien right there. UFOs have been the number one spot ever since 1947 when Kenneth Arnold had his fateful sighting near Mount Rainier. Okay, they've been in the public consciousness, they've been in the popular media, they've been a study of scientific inquiry, etc., etc., etc. Everybody knows what they are. Everybody wants to see one. They're number one. Been that way for a long time. Number two, ghosts. Woo! Oh boy. Now this is something that's old as time, and it's as international as it gets. Every culture on the planet has always had with it this idea of disembodied spirits, the spirits that have passed on that are now back with us. Oh, baby. And number three is, who knows, man? Seriously, number three is whatever number three is. That doesn't mean I forgot. That just means it changes, man. It changes like I used to change my socks when I was 17. In other words, about once or twice a year. Now, seriously, it seriously changes. Now, what is it today, this day? Right now, it's cryptids. For those of you that don't know, cryptids is, well, let me give you the popular term, monster hunting. Dun, dun, dun. Okay? Well, really, though, in its strictest sense, the study of cryptids is really just a study of biological organisms that have not yet been given a proper genus and species. In other words, it can be something, pedestrian, like, that goat with a unicorn horn or a new species of fish or whatever, or it could be something outlandish like Bigfoot, Yeti, the Loch Ness Monster, the Mothman, what have you, okay, what have you. Usually it lends itself towards that end of the spectrum, but, it could be the horned goat as well. So, that's kind of number three these days. It kicked off the former number three. You also see, let's say back in the olden times, back in the 60s and 70s, it was all about psychic powers. Now, that was a fascinating topic, but there's a bit of a drawback, isn't there? Psychic powers were so interesting that so many people studied it, including so many governments, that, boom. People figured out it was all a bunch of BS. It was nonsense, okay? There are no psychic powers. Nobody can levitate things with their mind, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I mean, that's the thing. They did so many studies, and there were so many failures that people finally just came to the conclusion that it's nonsense. And then it got dropped. It got dropped as a study of scientific inquiry, and it got dropped from the popular media. Because, well, once it gets proven to be nonsense, well, there's kind of no way back, because it's nonsense. Now, occupying number four, and sometimes it works its way up to number three, is Demonology. Oh, baby, I got demons running all through me. Oh, my God. Look out. Get me a priest. Oh, there's a church coming up. Maybe I'll be okay. Demonology is an interesting subject, but I'm sorry, demonology people, you're always going to be number 4. The drawback with that one is that it involves a certain theological worldview that not everybody's down with. In order to believe in demons, you have to believe in God and Jesus Christ, and etc., etc. Well, what if you're not a Christian? What if you're a Jew? How many Jews get possessed? How many Jews come to the priest and go, I'm possessed? Doesn't really happen. Ever notice that the only people who claim to be possessed are the people who believe in demons? Kind of interesting there. If you're not of that theological viewpoint, you're not going to fall into it. Therefore, you're never really going to get the whole population behind you. So you're always going to be number 4. Sometimes you move into number 3. Now, with things that sort of titillate and excite the popular culture, like movies like The Exorcist and the Conjuring series and the Annabelle series, or sub-series really, demonology moves into the forefront sometimes, and that's great. But it kind of rises and falls with the tide, so, or with the changing of my socks. Bump. Now, here's the thing. Let's take a moment. Now that I've identified what the big 3 are, let me talk just a little bit about where things are going. Now, there's an interesting trend that I see, especially in the UFO subset, and that is we are moving towards a state of coalescence. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, back in the olden times, the 40s and the 50s, coincidentally, before we went to the moon and Mars and Venus, everybody says that the aliens that were visiting us were from Mars and Venus and the moon. That's a few right there. I got distracted there. Now, here's the thing. Then we went to Mars and Venus and the moon, and we discovered there's nothing there. So there went that idea. And then from the 1962 onward, there started to be about Zeta Reticuli with Betty and Barney Hill. And we see the Greys. We see the reptilians with the publication of Communion by Whitley Strieber, etc., etc. So we're moving waves, right? But it's always identifiable outlying things, right? The aliens are from here. No, they're from there. No, they're from here. They look like this. No, they look like that. No, they look like this other thing. Well, we're kind of moving away from that as an industry. We're moving towards the idea that, as Whitley Strieber put it, the aliens are not from out there. They are from here. They've always been from here. They've always been with us. They've always been here. They're always going to be here. They're a part of us. They're not like us. They're apart from us, but they're a part of us. In other words, please put it in other words. In other words, they're outside. You could don't think of them as beings from another planet. Think of them as beings that inhabit this earth, but are different from us. They're outsiders. Okay, the people will call them visitors. Well, if they've been here longer than us, or as long as we have, they're not really visiting. They're pretty much here to stay. I think of them as outsiders. Now, here's the thing. Key with that concept is that they can change form. Okay. In other words, they can appear as whatever they want, and they'll tell you that they're from wherever they want you to believe. They'll describe their nature in whatever terms you can understand. If you think aliens are from the moon, they're going to say from the moon. If you think aliens are from Zeta Reticuli, they're going to say they're from Zeta Reticuli. If you think that there are ghosts in this world, they're going to say they're a ghost. If you think there are demons, they're going to say they're a demon. And that's the way the industry is going. That the outsiders, the visitors, etc., are not from out there. They're just like us. They live here too. They're just different from us. And they like to take other forms. They're tricksters. They like to trick us. They say they're a ghost. They say they're a demon. They say they're an alien. Blah, blah, blah. And so when you study all these 3 things, you're kind of studying the same thing. It becomes the opposite of my opening statement. How the paranormal is bifurcated into all these teeny tiny little subsets. Well, not really. They're kind of all the same thing, okay? At least that's the way the industry is going. Now, you can believe that, you can disbelieve that. Whatever viewpoint you want to take is cool with me. But that's the way the industry is going. We're moving towards this coalescence. And I think it's really fascinating because, it tells us, well, it's a paradigm shift. This is a real sea change in how things are perceived. We're moving from this idea that there are these different sort of structures of the paranormal to this idea that everything paranormal is one thing. That the visitors, the outsiders, are really just like us, and they're a part of us. It's a fascinating. It's a huge paradigm shift. It's a huge change in the thinking, and I think it's fascinating. And I cannot wait to hear more about it. Right now, what I really want to do is go around this Forerunner because he's going so slow. Maybe he's a visitor. Maybe he's an outsider. They're tricksters. I'm telling you. He's tricking me. You got to look out, folks. You got to stay on your toes when you're driving into the darkness in the Paranormal Industrial Complex. You know what I'm saying, people? Oh, yeah, baby. This is Dallas DeLuxe. Good night, people. Stay safe out there. Woo! Look out for the visitors. Oh, baby.